Hello everyone, it's Kari here again to share another really awesome project. This time I'll be using this new stamp set from Miss Ink Stamps called Let's Ride. It has the cutest little images, some horses, one with a girl riding the horse, there's some trees, the cutest little dog and cat, and lots of things for scene building. So today I'm going to choose some of my favorite images from the stamp set to build a very simple scene, but it's going to be quite vibrant and really fun. And hopefully you'll learn some tricks along the way. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and stamp these down using some Copic friendly ink. Today I'm using Gina K's amalgam ink because I knew I was going to do not only Copic coloring but also some ink blending. And this ink seems to hold up very well for that. So I'm stamping that down, and then I'm also going to stamp a mask of each of these images. So I'm using some Gina K Masking Magic to stamp these images once again, and then I'll just go ahead and fussy cut those out and add them to each of the images on the cardstock. So there's the apples, the horse, and the girl right there. And I'll mask that down so that I can do the ink blending first off. I'm just going to tape off the bottom portion of this panel so I can ink on a little bit of this beautiful walnut stain. I am going to make that be the ground and just ink on a little light amount there. And then I'll go ahead and tape over that ground so I can ink over the background. And today in my head, I really wanted to have like a sunset background. I think that's such a beautiful, beautiful, vibrant look. So I'm starting off with the scattered straw, and then I'm going to go in with some fossilized amber and then some ripe persimmon, which is a beautiful, beautiful orange color. Then we'll go in with some kitsch flamingo and finally end up with candied apple. You can see that I'm going to go back and forth until I get a really good blend of these colors. So I'm slowly adding the color, starting off the cardstock and inking it onto the cardstock. I'm using Neenah Solar White cardstock here, which is a nice, smooth cardstock. It's really great for blending these oxide inks onto. And there I'll just go back and forth with all the colors till I get the look that I'm going for. Nice and smooth and really bright and beautiful. So once I get that, I can go ahead and take off these masks, but then I remembered, wait a minute, I want to add a little bit of a sun to the background. So I'm using this stencil that is really from that Rainbow Sky stencil set, and it's a beautiful sun, and I'm just going to use a portion of it to ink on some white pigment ink. And I have this special brush that I have set aside for only white pigment ink, and I use these brushes for the oxide inks as well. So I have a separate set for oxide inks that I like to use that I don't use on regular other distress inks or other dye inks. So now I can remove all those masks, and you're going to see this beautiful sunset, and now these images are ready to color. So I'll just use my tweezers to get that started and pull those masks off, and look what a fun look we get with that background. So I'm going to use my Copic markers again to color this, and I started by coloring those apples, but I thought I would leave in the coloring for the horse because I really wanted to have a bright, beautiful horse image here. I'm using the E50s, which seem to be some of my favorite brown shades for animals and hair, actually. So I'm going to use the E50s on his mane. And I really wanted to turn this into an Appaloosa horse, which those have spots on them. And they can be almost any color. There's lots of different colors. There's gray and cream colored ones. There's lots of different colors. So today I thought I would go a little bit with a brown, kind of warm gray shade. So for the mane and the tail, I'm using those browns. And you can see how I'm just easily feathering those in together just to make this horse really shine in that evening sunset sunlight, right? It's so pretty. So I'll finish up the tail on this, and all the colors I have listed up there on the screen. Hopefully you can read those. And then I went ahead with some warm grays and colored in the entire body. The warm grays have more of a warm kind of brownish tint to them, so that's why I thought they would work really well for what I wanted to do. Then I'm going to go ahead and color the hooves up as well using warm grays. So I'm sticking to a lot of the same color palette for my horse with browns and grays. And then we're going to go ahead and add those spots on. Now the spots on my horse, I didn't want them to be really stark and obvious. I wanted them to be more blended in with the body, like I feel like the spots on a horse would be. So what I'm going to do is start by adding a few just random kind of spots with the W5 marker. And then I'm going to blend it out with the W1 so that we get not a very defined line. It's more blurred of a line, if that makes sense. So you can see I'm just going over all the edges with that W1 just to get those blended. So it's more of a soft spot, if that makes sense. And then I added a few more smaller spots going up the up by the mane as well. So that will really just kind of blend them out. But these ones I made a lot smaller, and then I blended them right away. And that seemed to work really well. So if you have a hard time blending out those spots, add a spot and then blend it, and then add another spot and then blend it. And that really works. It's easy. It's an easy way to do that. So there's our horse. So cute. And then I finished coloring up the girl and her overalls and her shirt, and she's got some carrots as well. So cute. So I'm going to take this set right here, which is the Eieio frame die. And this set has different sizes of frames. And the outside one is a straight frame. Then we have that scalloped frame, and then the inside frame. And then there's one that has dots on it. So you could frame this up any way you want with multiple layers. In fact, I'm also using this Eieio placement guide that I'm going to use with the alpha set that comes in that Eieio frame die. And it's really cool to have this placement guide. I think it's pretty brilliant. And I'll tell you why, but first let me tell you, I cut out Hey Friend in gold and white cardstock so that I could build those up. And then I'm going to cut out my cardstock with a frame using the Oh Happy frame die set. And the reason I use that one is because it was a larger frame with a dotted line around the edge. So you get that detail for it. Hopefully you can see that here. But I also wanted the larger frame so that I could fit my words on perfectly. So I'm using Hey Friend, and to line it up, I'm just using my placement guide, and this is going to perfectly space out those letters. And all I'm going to do is pick it up with some low tack tape, and then I'll be able to glue that down. And I'm going to try two different ways. So I did the hey this way, and then I'll come back to the friend in a minute, but I just wanted to make sure that it was all going to fit on the card and that I could space that out so that it would be centered, as much as centered as I could get it with those two words. So I'm gluing on the hey right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and take that placement guide once again. And I apologize, I don't know why I wasn't getting very clear. Needs to focus here. But I lined up the friend, and I kept the stencil on this time and added some tape, low tack tape to the top, so I could just use the stencil to keep that placed perfectly. And I wanted to try this so I could see if I could push it right through the stencil, and I didn't have to actually take it out, and it worked. So watch this. I'm just going to press that down and then push it through the stencil, and there it's fully attached and spaced perfectly and lined up. So I love that. That placement guide is really helpful, and there's quite a few words that are supplied on this stencil. So there's hello, hey, hi, thanks, smile, congrats, XO, hugs, friend, happy, wish, love, and miss you. So there's quite a few you can choose from. I just love it. Went ahead and put that panel on our top folding card base. And that's our card for today with our Appaloosa horse. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. And I'll see you again real soon. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.